It's 10 at 3 time at Tennessee. What's up, y'all? How are you doing? Hope you're well. Hope everything in your life is going great. Hope you're having a Merry Christmas Eve. I believe that this is the Christmas Eve episode, is it not? I think it is. I'm trying to do the math in my head, Miss Ainslee. It's let's see. This is Candidly, and we mentioned this on Monday. So we're recording this on Tuesday, and so the drill today is we're doing one live episode on Tuesday and then 3 in the can because we're psychos. And this is the first of the 4 that we're recording, so I believe it's Christmas Eve.
I think so. I think we're going like chronologically, so I think it would make sense the first one we're recording is slated for tomorrow.
That's great then. I hope whatever happened on your Tuesday was great. I hope that it goes better than mine might be going. We'll see. It got started. It's really good. I've learned that when you have 4 hours or so, 4+ hours of content to provide in one day, I think it's good that the night before you don't do any notes. That's a good start, right? Because then you think, I'm tired. I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll get stuff going. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, no, I think I'll sleep for an extra half hour or so. And then you're like, I'll go play with the dog for a minute. And then, wait a minute, the dog doesn't want to come inside. Wait, the dog still will not come inside. He wants to keep slaloming with the soccer ball in the backyard on this lovely, unseasonably warm weather that we're having. And so then you'll be just a little bit late to the studio, which is rare. I often run it close, but I'm almost never late. Today came a little bit late, and here, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, you'll see the notes for today. So I think going into 4 hours of broadcasting with 0 notes is about the right way to do it because I think it's professional. I think if you've got enough thoughts to fill 4 hours, I think you're just fine, Wes. If I have as many thoughts as my son had yesterday, last night, I was trying to get him to bed, and I've been thinking about this all day. Kids have a rare ability to get rent-free in your head because they don't know, like they have basic thoughts. He's 4, so he has like basic thoughts, but in terms of like filtering them and it's still kind of like look up, hey, that's an airplane. He just kind of says what he thinks. And last night, the old like 1950s Batman show, the one where the theme is no, Batman. Last night, as I was getting ready to get him to go to sleep, he looked at me and he went, no, fat man. And he poked my belly. And that got me. It was one, objectively funny. 2, a little harsh on the holiday season, I think. A little harsh.
That's a deep cut, Wes.
It is a deep cut.
And really do not hold back.
And then just wait, it gets worse. So then he said, and I quote, this another one. Direct quote. Mommy said it's okay to call you fat. And so that led to another conversation. And that was, are you being serious? Did your mother really say that? Did your mother really say that? And he went, yes, she did. And so I then had to go confront the wife about this. And she said that apparently at school they've been calling each other fat and big belly, and Cassandra's got the big belly and everything. And so he was trying to do that to his mom one day, who does not have a big belly. And she was like, you can't ever say that to a girl, buddy. You can't ever say that to a girl. Not your mommy, not your granny, your Mimi, not your Aunt Momo, not your Aunt Maggie, not anybody. You can't say that to anybody. You can't say that to any girls. And he said, well, can I say it to Daddy? And she said, yes, you can. So she gave him permission to body shame me. And so that's what I'm dealing with this holiday season.
It's a crazy start to the week, Wes.
Is it not? Is it not? I mean, 'tis the season, right? Ho, ho, ho.
I don't think I'd ever recover from Fat Man.
It's.
I think that would just have to haunt me until the end of my days.
I mean, for a 4-year-old, it's really, really good. It's really, really good.
I think he got you.
He did. He did. Although I don't feel fat. I mean, I'm getting older. I'm not small, but I don't know. It's digging me a little bit. I promised y'all that we were going to get to some mailbag stuff this week. And we are going to do that because we're doing it. So if you're listening on Christmas Eve, yesterday was the show with me and Elijah, unless Elijah all of a sudden just at the last minute can't show, in which case I'll act like I never said this. But supposed to be doing the 3 p.m. live show on Tuesday with Elijah. So we'll have plenty of stuff that we've discussed then by that point. And I promised that we would get to some mailbag stuff today. And we did. I sent the questions out there on the social machines on twitter.com/Wes Rucker TBA, which is still the name because I just haven't changed it. And then on Blue Sky at bluesky/Wes Rucker. So we got lots of different questions that we'll get to today. And in all candor, this is always how I do mailbag episodes. I don't look at the questions before we go live. Because I think you can kind of manufacture your response. You can kind of, you know what I mean? It's good to think on your feet. I think you sometimes you run the risk of saying something that, you know, you're kind of formulating a thought in your head as you're talking about it. And so you'll think, no, I could have said that better. Like I didn't say the wrong thing necessarily, but I just thought of a better way to say it. But I think that takes away from what I believe is ultimately the best way to do shows like these, which is organic. Because I think you get more off the cuff. I think you get more, it's raw. It's, you know, it's kind of in the moment, even if it's not factually true, which we always want to be factually true, but it's like emotionally true. Like it's vibes based. It's how do you really feel? Who are you really? You get to the core of who somebody is when you kind of have to improv the stuff. And so, and it bothers me when I get an answer that I'll say something that they're like, what's the best thing you've ever seen about this? And I've said, oh, this is off the top of my head, this is the best game I've ever covered, or this was the best. And then like 5 minutes after you're done recording, you go, that was actually the second one. I just can't believe I forgot the very best one. And so you run the risk of doing things like that. But I think on balance, I prefer the organic route. And not just because, you know, that means you're not working beforehand. It's not that, bosses. It's not that. Of course it wouldn't be that. It would not be that. No, it wouldn't be. Let's get to some of these questions here. I guess we'll start with some of them on the Twitter machine. We'll get to a question from... Who are you? Who's going to go first today? The first question for today is coming from Healthy Bob Kessling right here on Twitter. So good to see Bob Kessling is healthy. Biggest and smallest size-wise athletes you've ever interviewed? That's the first question. I would say the biggest... in terms of just sheer height, there was a big man, and I mean a very big man, who played basketball years ago at UNC Asheville. And he was 7'8". And that's the kind of size that, like, when you see it in person, it doesn't seem real. And this is coming from someone who sort of routinely speaks with like 7-footers, to where like if the average person just saw a 7-footer walking down the street, they would be like, that's comical. This is not real life. Things that large are not bipedal. Like that's not how nature works, right? But I've been doing this for enough years now where I see the guys in that 6'10" to 7'1" range, and you're like, oh, that's just a big guy. That's a basketball big guy. I'm 6'1", so they're a foot taller than me, which is weird, but you're looking up, you interview them. It's no big deal. When you see 7'8", that leaves questions. That looks like those old cartoons where you see like two or three people, like two or three kids get on top of each other and then put a trench coat over it, and they're going to walk around like, hey, look, I'm an adult. It looks like that, but like 7 kids. That's the kind of size that just I can't fathom. I could not believe the size of that guy. And then you're looking at a court. And what's always funny is if you watch a basketball game, you look at the guys out there, and if you watch a lot of basketball, they begin to look normal to you at that size. Because if you see anything enough times, it's, which is why you have to marry for personality, by the way. Because eventually you see the same person every day, you're like, I got to be able to talk to you, And it's slightly different, but when you're watching a sport, when you see guys that big, whether even on TV, you'll be like, that's normal. That's the size humans are. And then you see them and you go, oh no, that's not the size humans are. When you see someone who is 7 feet tall, looking small on a court, it shatters the scale of what you think size should be. It's you see a 7-foot person, someone who you would have to be like this to talk to, and that person's having to look like this to talk to somebody. And that's also got to be jarring for them. I never asked any of, Tennessee's 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot guys that question, because what's it like for them their entire life? Like, do their neck muscles even work like this? Do they, if they're not looking at an airplane or looking at a tree, do they ever need to really look up? I guess if they're sitting down, maybe. But do you even use that muscle? And they're having to guard somebody who's up there. It's crazy. They also, Tennessee's players that year had basically their own, like you put a bunch of money in a hat, you have a pool, like people do it for NCAA tournaments and things like that. Their challenge was big cash prize to anybody who can dunk on that guy. And they were beating the tar out of them. I mean, they were beating them by a lot of points. That was not a good UNC Asheville basketball team. But Tennessee's players kind of kept going to the free throw line because they kept trying to dunk on the guy. And I don't think anybody actually got a clean dunk on him, but they tried. In terms of the smallest, it's a great question. I would say I'll stick with men's athletes because men, like, of course, if you were to ask a question, who's the smallest athlete you've ever covered? If you cover men's sports and women's sports, it's going to be one of the women, right? Because they're just on average smaller. So, you might see a point guard on a basketball team that isn't quite 5 feet tall in an extreme situation. So that's I'm not counting that. I'll stick with men's athletes because I am a guy, and that's the size that I look at most of the time. And I would say probably Zakai Ziegler was up there. I don't know if he was the absolute smallest. I believe Tennessee had a walk-on running back years ago who was about 5'5". That's pretty small. It's not like it's not like the kind of small that you look at and go, oh, that's weird. That's different. But it's on a football field, it looks that way. And I'll think of his name, but there was a walk-on running back who was like 5'5", maybe 5'6" tops. Not a big guy. He would be up there. Probably. And if I think of him, I'll keep going. And I'll add that later. It might be one of those things where I go, hey, I just thought about this and now I remembered it. Another question here. Bacon or sausage? Ooh, fun question. Sausage. it's I like bacon. There's nothing wrong with bacon. Turkey bacon kind of depends. Not really. Not anti-turkey bacon. I just prefer bacon. And my favorite sandwich on the planet, other than the Z-Man sandwich at Joe's Barbecue in Kansas City. It's like a brisket sandwich, and it's basically just at a gas station in Kansas City. And it's and it's like brisket, barbecue sauce, and onion ring, I think cheddar cheese, and their brisket's just and their sauce, their barbecue sauce. I get it shipped from Kansas City. If you're ever in the Kansas City airport, they have it. They don't sell the sandwich there, but they sell the barbecue sauce there. Joe's Barbecue Sauce. Get it. If there's someone in your life, and I know that it's Christmas Eve, so you probably can't get it in one day, unless you live in Kansas City. And if you live in Kansas City and you don't know what Joe's Barbecue is, what are you doing? You're missing out on so many things in life. And there's lots of places there. There's Gates. There's all kinds of. There's some really, 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 really good barbecue sauces in Kansas City. And I say this as a Tennessee native who's not disrespecting Memphis at all. Not at all. I love Memphis. There's 3 or 4. The pork barbecue nachos at Central Barbecue are my favorite thing to eat in this state probably. It would be a tie between the pork barbecue nachos at Central Barbecue in Memphis and the banana pudding at Shuford Smokehouse in Chattanooga. They're at the foot of Signal Mountain just basically across the street almost from Baylor School down there in that part of Signal Mountain. Hope it's still there because still when I drive from Knoxville to Atlanta, because I've lived in Chattanooga for a few years. So if I had time and I was going back from Atlanta to Knoxville, I would always try to stop, and you could get either just a few individual orders, or if they had enough, you could get a tray of it, and I'd just bring it back. I would just bring back like a tray or like half a tray of banana pudding. And banana pudding is my favorite dessert on the planet to the extent that when my wife and I got married, and they're like, what do you want your groom cake to be? I was like, I don't care. Just have banana pudding. Now, for the photos and everything, they want to have a groom cake and all these things. So we did that. But really, we also have banana pudding on the side because I was like, that's what I want. It's my wedding, right? It's my wedding. I'm the one in the white dress. I can say I can have what I want. It's my party. I'll cry if I want to. So I'm not disrespecting Memphis barbecue. Just throwing that out there. Rendezvous, Central, Alvia, the commissary, and all those places in Memphis, love them. But my favorite sandwich in the world is the Z-Man sandwich at Kansas City. But aside from that, if you're saying what's your favorite type of sandwich, your favorite genre of sandwich, for me, I could eat a BLT every day and never complain. Like I could have a BLT or a BLT and a half or 2 BLTs if I'm super hungry. Remember, none a fat man. I could have a BLT every day. There's no cheese on it. It's not a BLTC. It's a BLT. It's bacon, lettuce, tomato, just a slight bit, not overboard, just a slight amount of mayo, salt and pepper. And I don't toast the bread. That I could have that for lunch every day and be happy. But if you're saying if you got just loose meat lying around, you want to eat some loose meat, I'm going sausage over bacon. And I could have for breakfast almost all the time an omelet with sausage, cheddar, mushrooms, and onions. And sausage on a pizza, I like. I would go sausage over bacon. That's me. Ainsley, what's your thoughts on this? And if I honestly don't know, so if you're vegetarian or vegan, that's cool. I don't know. I'm just asking. So which would you prefer?
That's a good question. I am not vegetarian or vegan, so
Okay.
you're safe. I love bacon. I'm with you. BLT is fantastic. But I do think sausage is like a little bit more versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you can use it in more things. Like bacon is such a specific flavor. There's only so many things you can use it for. And I will eat like bacon and eggs for breakfast any day of the week.
Sure, I'd never complain. If you got bacon, I'm never complaining about bacon. But if it's like bacon or sausage, I go sausage.
I think sausage is more versatile.
And I would probably, Yeah, because I mean, bacon. There's things you can do. I mean, bacon wrapped shrimp. You can do bacon. Like on top of deviled eggs, which is good. You can do. You can put bacon on certain types of pizzas, Hawaiian pizzas and stuff, and they can be really good.
Love Hawaiian pizza.
I do too. I'm a big Hawaiian pizza fan, and especially when we make one because I have the big green egg at home, and I grow a bunch of tomatoes and peppers, and so I'll put my own peppers and stuff on it, which is great because if I'm grilling burgers, I've got like poblanos that I've also got growing, and I'll just go slice them up and put them on top of the burger. And so, but yes, as I clank my lights against the microphone, I would go sausage over bacon, but I'm not complaining about either. I can tell you that much. Look at me, remember? None fat man. Let's see, we got a couple more here. We got a bunch more, actually. We're going to get to another good question here. Will I do more podcasts with Jason Swain again? That's a fun question because Jason Swain, I make no bones about this, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I absolutely, if you're listening, Jay Swain, first off, it's Christmas Eve. You should be with your family today, and I know you are. I know with your wife and your 3 gorgeous daughters, and you're having a great Christmas. I hope you are, buddy. He is someone who, if I had not had the health thing like 10 years ago, basically at that point in life, I had to make some decisions on what was going on because, when you're learning to walk a second time, you have to, you got to prioritize what you're doing and how things are going and, all these other types of things. And, I had bigger fish to fry at that moment. I was like, hey, my brain's not really working. I got to figure out this walking thing again. And so it was like, but I have to work. Honestly, like I was in the hospital for 8 days and it took about, let's see, it was 3-4 months. I was kind of up again on like a cane, like a 4-prong cane, and then do a couple months of that, and then a 1-prong cane, and then you eventually just kind of have like a walking stick for a little bit, and then you're mostly okay. I would fall down a lot, but like basically I was in the hospital for 8 days, and then I was working again the day I got home in terms of like writing stories and stuff. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I have to feel normal. Like I can't worker bees work. I can't just sit around and wallow in this. Like I'll do the PT, I'll do everything, I'll do all this therapy and all this stuff, but like I still want to write some stuff. Like I still want to do that. But like you can't, that and the radio show every day, and it's just it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. And so basically the doctor of the family were like, hey man, like, pick, you gotta take a little bit off this, because it may have been part of the reason why the thing happened in the first place. I don't know. When you just work for all the time and don't sleep enough, and maybe not connected, maybe is. But so I had to stop doing the show every day with Swain, and I've missed it every day since. I love the guy. He is like family to me. But he, if that hadn't happened, then he wouldn't have been able to work with maybe he wouldn't have been working with Ben McKee. Maybe he wouldn't have been doing some of the other stuff. And certainly the way his career's gone, he can have no complaints, doing great things. He's got the show every day there on the Animal. He still does the Swain event there with another one of my favorite people on the planet, Ben McKee, who's been in here, and Swain will be in that seat. I promise you that. He'll be in that seat a little bit. That's going to happen for sure. And obviously all the stuff he's doing for Vol Network. So one of my favorite people, one of the best people I know, and I could do a show with that guy every day and have fun. And we had a great dynamic. We did. We do. We have a rapport. We click when we're doing radio. Like we had a lot of really fun, really dumb segments back in the day when we did that. So yes, to answer that question, I absolutely will be forcing Swain to come in here and do some stuff with us. So that will be fun. And he will, I'm guessing, and I hope, be happy to do that. Question from Barry Nave. Barry Nave on Twitter. What sports did you play and at what level? I played mostly baseball. I'm a baseball guy from a baseball family. As a kid, you play a bunch of sports, right? I also played, football and basketball and all like anything else that you can play. But basically, I have a a back that's not great. And so in high school, I kept, like my sophomore year of high school, when I was playing football, I kept pulling hamstrings and quad muscles, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. And we're like, well, the doctor eventually said, what's wrong with your back? And I said, well, my back hurts all the time. Doesn't everybody's? And he was like, no, it's not supposed to hurt all the time. And so they looked at it, and I have a crooked back, and that was causing a lot of that, and the contact from football was exacerbating that. So basically, he was like, I'm not going to tell you not to play football, but I'm going to tell you that you're probably going to keep doing this to your legs all the time, and you're not going to be comfortable, and your back's going to get worse. And so I said, okay, well, I like baseball better anyway. So instead of playing baseball like 2 or 3 seasons a year, and then except for football season, then I just went to playing baseball all the time. And so played baseball, was an average player at best. My brother and sister were both much better players than I was. I was fine. And I got some offers to play at junior colleges and small colleges, like D2s, D3s, things of that nature. The only Division I schools that recruited me were Gardner-Webb and Evansville, and they wanted me to be a walk-on. So basically, I think it was like those. I think that was in the days when like the APR was a thing. So you could be judged by like what your school's team's grades were. And I went to a private school and got good grades. So basically, I may have been just like an APR booster or something like that. Like, hey, we're not going to give you any scholarship money. We'll give you a little bit of book money, and you can probably sit there on the bench and you can help the team GPA. That's. And then at that point, you start to do a cost-benefit analysis of the situation, and you go, let's see. Probably not a Major League Baseball prospect. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there. So do you want to get up every single day, super early, do workouts, go through everything that you go through, all the commitment that it takes to play ball at that level, while also going to school, and you might not play much, or maybe you could be a late bloomer or something physically or whatever, and then things go in a different direction. But I was like, no, I think I'm done playing ball. So in college, it basically was like, I'm going to go to a big school, I'm going to sleep late, and I'm going to hang out more with girls. And that was what I did. So I went into, at that point, I was like, what school am I going to go to? University of Tennessee's got a really nice journalism school and broadcasting, I wasn't in for broadcasting, but basically I said, I know that I want to be in media, so I'll go my freshman year and I'll hang out at the newspaper, the Daily Beacon. I'll hang out at the radio station, The Rock, and then maybe some TV stuff or whatever, and I'll see kind of what I like. And I gravitated toward the journalism people, the writing people, and so I became a journalism major with an emphasis in sports communication. I think we were the first class at UT that did that where you could emphasize your degree in that way. But I still did radio stuff, but I was trained to be a journalist, like a written journalist. And then, of course, if I had known then what I know now, I would have done even more multimedia stuff, because it used to be that you didn't have to be just one thing, but you kind of were. At the end of the day, am I a writer? Am I radio? Am I television? Because that was in the day when companies actually spent money on things, and it was a different era, honestly. And so people were allowed to kind of stick in their field and be experts in it. And then things became, it was crazy. It was like, more multimedia. You got to do everything. If you're a journalist who's a writer, you still have to learn how to use at least your phone as a camera with a gimbal on it, and get interviews that way. And then people are going to want you on their radio and TV shows. And then people are going to ask you to maybe start your own radio show, which happened. And so I learned all of this other stuff on the fly. There was no sort of educational training in terms of at a university or anything for this. That was just for the writing. So basically I learned radio by doing it, and I'm learning this by doing it. That's kind of what that is. But yes, so when people say, did you even play ball? I did, but I mean, not at a super, super, super high level. Like my brother was much better than I was, and my sister too. Both of them had much better college offers and interest in things of that nature. So, but yes, I do. I do know ball, I guess, if you want to call it that way. I've played it. I've been around it. I grew up around some, guys like the Todd Heltons and Bubba Trammels and those guys. So I've been around ball my whole life, basically. But and I don't have the talent of my great uncle, Hall of Famer Rabbit Moranville, but I do. And actually, he's the worst hitter who's not a pitcher who's in the Hall of Fame. He was a 5'4" shortstop who was a really good defensive player and a crazy character. Look him up. There's stories about him. And also, anytime anybody makes a list of like the top 10 players or like the worst 10 players in the Hall of Fame, like why is this person in the Hall of Fame? Uncle Rabbit's always on that list. But he was a kooky character. He was the last player. He was the last person who was a player and manager for the Chicago Cubs at the same time, back in the days when they had player managers. But he lasted less than one season in that role because he liked the sauce a little bit too much, went to the minors and sobered up, and then came back with the Cardinals and won a World Series, of course, because the Cardinals are the worst thing ever. It's a story of my life. The St. Louis Cardinals ruining my entire life. But yeah, so that's I do have a background in this stuff, and I've been around it, and yes, I do know ball, I guess you could say. Let's see here. Got a bunch more that we'll get to. As many as we can, at least. Ooh, this one makes sense on a day like this. This is a good question. This is from Karen Reeves on the social machine. Although it's Karen Peak is the social media name, but then it says her name is Karen Reeves. So I don't know. Maybe it's hyphenated. Maybe it's I don't know, or maybe it's Peak as in like some sort of an inside joke or something. I don't know, but that is her name on the socials, and she's always been really, really nice to me on the socials. She's one of those people who, among the sea of like that replies to things that are like, "You suck, you're the worst, go away, go walk into a fire, walk into traffic." She's on one of the people who's like, "Thanks." She's just always nice, and so she said. The obvious question I have is your Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies. That's a good one. Although, you know what my family does on Christmas Eve? I don't know how. It started like, I don't know, probably around a decade ago. We couldn't figure out what Christmas movie we were going to watch. This was like me and my parents and my wife and my brother and sister, their people. We're just trying to figure out what we wanted to watch and Christmas movie, and we're discussing. And for whatever reason, while we were discussing this, The Hangover was on. And we were just watching it, and we were laughing so hard we didn't change the channel. And so usually on Christmas Eve, we'll watch one of the 3 Hangover movies at some point as a family. And it's a weird tradition. It just kind of started by accident, but that's what we do. Now, the problem is now there's little kids in the mix. So we have to, change it up a little bit. We'll probably, Elf and things like that. So, and maybe after they go to bed, maybe then watch it. But it's Mount Rushmore Christmas movies. I absolutely, positively, and I know there's a lot of feedback on this. It's kind of a tired debate, honestly. I do think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I do. It's not what you would think of as a classic Christmas movie, but that's kind of why I like it. Like, if you ask me for, like, my favorite Christmas song, it's Christmas in Hollis, because it's kind of different. It doesn't sound like every other Christmas song. So, but that would be in there for me, for sure. Need a little more coffee before I answer this. Let's see. I would say Elf probably in there. And especially now that my son, who's 4 and really mean, really likes it. And he laughs really hard at it. So that's kind of put it even higher up on the list for me. That one's up there for me. Christmas Vacation is obviously on that list for me. That's just got to watch at least once, if not twice, every holiday season. And then the 4th, I'd have to really... I mean, there's classics, The Wonderful Life and all these other ones. I mean, there's moments for that. I don't know if it'd be in my top 4. I know every year, at least 2 or 3 times, every holiday season, my wife makes us watch White Christmas.
That's one of my mom's favorites.
Every holiday season. I mean, I think I know every line of that movie, and it's like, it's one of the things that, like, my wife really is basically a saint, does not demand many things, does not ask for much, not the squeaky wheel getting the grease, right? But White Christmas, we watch, and it's watched, and nobody complains about it, and nobody says anything, and we let her have her moments. And then I think every episode, I think I've watched every episode of Project Runway at least once, because that's the other one where it's like we've never had to, I've never watched a single episode of The Bachelor. I don't know anything about it. I'm not opposed to it. There's just only so many things that a human can do in this world. Like there's a lot of other really cool sports that when I watch them, like rugby and stuff, I'm like, that's really cool. But I don't, or cricket, which is like weird baseball. And we have a friend from Sri Lanka who stays up to odd hours of the night when there's a big cricket match that he's just got to watch. But I'm like, my brain, it's like that old joke where Tom Segura is talking about his dad being like, I know all the people I need to know. Like, there's only so much. Like, I read books. I love planting things and growing things and, watching war documentaries. And there's like, I read a lot of books. And like, so there's only so much time in the world to do things, especially now as a dad. So there's just some things that just don't quite make it on the list. And so I don't think the idea of The Bachelor is stupid or anything like that. A lot of people love it. Or it's all those things, Big Brother, Survivor, all of them. I've just never gotten into them. But Project Runway, every single season, I go into it like complaining, oh, we have to watch this. Come on, there's a game on tonight. Like, aren't you tired? Don't you want to go to bed? You want to go to bed, don't you? You're tired. Look at you. You're yawning. Go to bed. We're good. And then it starts, and I'm immediately hooked into it. And I know nothing about fashion. I wear almost the same stuff every day. But it's just simple. But I very quickly form opinions on Project Runway and get very into it and get super angry when I think the wrong people have been eliminated. And Tim Gunn is just the best ever. Tim Gunn is chef's kiss to that guy. Love Tim Gunn. But I'm trying to think really hard of my fourth favorite Christmas movie. I mean, maybe the original Grinch.
The Jim Carrey one or the animated one?
The animated, old school, like back in the long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that one. And I think that was better than, I like it, I think, more than Charlie Brown's Christmas or the old Rudolph.
Yeah.
But that would probably, the old Grinch probably. Although now we watch that one, and my son loves the Benedict Cumberbatch one that Imagination did, I think, and it got decent reviews. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it's got a good cast in it. It's got some things in it that, as an adult, you're like, haha, that's funny. For an adult, they snuck that in there. And so it's good. So right now, it's my unofficial list is Die Hard and let's see, Die Hard, Grinch, and what were the other two I mentioned? Elf, and what was the fourth?
I know we talked about White Christmas.
No.
But that was your wife's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's her all-time number one. Maybe her favorite movie of any genre ever. Let's see here. I just said it.
We do not have good memory, Wes.
Not at all.
This is bad.
Not enough coffee. But anyway, if you go back and hit the rewind button, there I named my four. What's your Christmas movie?
My list? Okay. Home Alone. I think that one's got to be on there.
Yeah, that's one that I feel really bad about leaving out.
National Lampoon's like.
Oh, Christmas. Yeah, that's right. Yes,
okay.
yes.
I remembered. We got there.
Yeah. And my son likes Home Alone 2, which is nice. And we've watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2 in the past week. So, and they're great. They're awesome movies.
They're solid. They're classics. But
classics.
I think the problem with the classics is they get played out. You know, if you watch them every single year, sometimes you get like a little bit tired of them. I know that my family had to like rotate out the Christmas movies that we were watching because we were starting to get tired of the same
ones,
same list every year. I think I've got to put the Jim Carrey Grinch on mine just
Good
because
one.
that one's
That's a good one.
nostalgic. I love the animated one. That one's my dad's favorite.
Good one.
But the Jim Carrey one just brings a level of unhinged that I love.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, very few people can have the bag full of talent that he does.
Absolutely. That movie is also crazy quotable.
Yes, it is.
I don't watch a whole lot of Christmas movies, I don't think.
I mean, they're not like my favorite thing. Like I don't like most of my Christmas movies are either comedies or over the top or Christmas adjacent. And I'm not opposed to it. Like I know that you think of wearing ugly sweaters, having eggnog, sitting around with your family watching movies. Like I love my family. Like I'm not like anti-Christmas vibes. Like I love Christmas stuff. It's just Christmas music and movies aren't like my absolute favorite.
They aren't mine either. And I love the season. I love ugly sweaters. I love spending time with my family. But like, I don't think I watch a whole lot of Christmas movies that aren't with my family. And a lot of like if I'm listening to music, it's usually at like family events and stuff like that. I'm not blasting Christmas playlists on my own, I fear. Although I will make an exception for Dominic the Donkey. That one is one of the best Christmas songs, and I stand by that.
That's fine. That's legitimate business to stand on. I would say, and the fun thing about like as you're like raising a kid, you start to think of what can I sort of expose them to and when. And it may surprise you to learn that my wife and I have very different opinions on this stuff, because my family was kind of like, whatever. Go whatever. There was no like, don't watch this R-rated movie. It was basically get good grades, do what you're supposed to do, don't get in trouble. But we can't keep this stuff from you, so just whatever. Just there you go. And so I was kind of I think if you like the way you were raised, you try to pass that on. And my wife was raised in a cocoon of love. Which I was not, not in a different kind of love, and so she's can be a little bit more protectionist, I guess, and so it's like there's some language in Home Alone. Is it okay for a 4-year-old? Do you want him saying that at school? And so what we try to do is we know the movie well enough that if we know some bad line's going to happen, we'll just be like, "Hey, Hank," or like distract him or give him a transformer during that part. And so that's how we sort of work. So that's why he doesn't look at us very often and be like, "Hey, Daddy, what does beep mean?" Like, "Oh, buddy, that's not the word. That's not what you heard. No, that you heard it wrong. It's this instead." And we do those things. But that's people should do. I mean, who am I? This is a sports show. Raise your kid how you want. But I just, that's what we do. And then we're working on how do you kind of incorporate that into what you're doing? Because they're going to hear worse at school. They are. So it's like, I'm usually the benefit. I'm from the school of expose them to it, but talk to them about why you shouldn't say it, like outside the house. Or why you shouldn't do this. I think of it kind of like the French and other Europeans do with alcohol. It's just around. You want a sip of it, that's fine. Learn, be responsible with it. Kind of stuff. That's kind of how, like that school of thought is kind of how I am with things. But those, Home Alones are, they're. And if you haven't watched it in a while, because I think I hadn't gone through like the whole Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2 marathon. It had been a hot minute when we did it last weekend, I think? Last week? And when we did that, there's a few things that you forget, and it hits you pretty good. It's and like you're like, "Oh, look, there's Kieran Culkin too." You forget things like that. Like, "Oh, look at that guy. Hey, I know that guy." By the way, do you remember, Ainsley, pop quiz time? Do you know what Macaulay Culkin's official name is now?
No, not off the top of my head.
He did this was years ago, he did a Twitter poll asking people what his middle name should be.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember that.
And he said, I promise you I'll go with the winner. And they picked the most hilarious one. And they thought he wouldn't do it, but he actually did do it, he said. So his middle name is Macaulay-Culkin. So his name is Macaulay Culkin. That's his like official name.
That was beautiful.
Which is fantastic.
That's some crazy commitment to the bit.
There was one, the basketball team that Tennessee played the other day, Gardner-Webb. I come up with like my favorite name teams a lot. And there was a guy who plays for Gardner-Webb. His name is Reek.
Reek.
Reek. R-I-E-K, first name. Last name, R-I-E-K. Reek.
At least it's spelled the same, I guess.
Yes.
Consistency.
Yes. And he made it through, he didn't change it after Game of Thrones, which you would think maybe like when you hear Reek there, you're like, oh, that's bad. That's bad thoughts there. But he stuck with it. Your name is your name. That's what your mama call you. That's what people call you. And I love those things. I love all name teams. They're my absolute favorite things.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I try to make them throughout the year, and I used to post them. And now I think I'll probably do that for this show at some point, like at the end of. It'll either do it at the beginning or the end of it. I know that sometimes it's really good summer content going into college football season. Because you're not scraping the bottom of the barrel. If you're creative, you can find all kinds of good stuff to do during those summer months. But one of the easy things to do is look around the country and have the all-name team. And I thought about doing things like that and then having awards and then printing them off and mailing them to the SIDs to give to the players, like the Tenet 3 College Football Awards. Some of them would be like, they would basically be, no one would keep them because they would be commemorating really bad things. It would be like, basically calling the security award would go to the team in the college football with the most turnovers.
It's like
the good hands award to the team with the most drop passes. Like those sorts of things.
Like the Razzies, right? Like
basically
movies.
Basically. And it's a little kitsch, I get it, but it's so we probably wouldn't actually send them, but I have thought about it. I'm being honest, I've thought about it. And then let's see, there's another question here. We've got, this is a good one. It was, the question came from Steve and Aaron, and it said, how is Hank? That's a good question, because for those of you who know Hank, my son, we've talked about this quite a bit over the years, but, he had those 6 surgeries on the kidneys when he was a tot, which he still is, he's 4. But we go see the specialist again in like a month, but we've been through the clear the past couple of years. Everything's, you don't want to say good, because one of the kidneys is just barely good enough to keep. So hopefully he can keep it. That for a while there, they didn't think he would, and they're miracle workers, and they did. And I might repost it over the Christmas time, but the shout out that I gave to the people at Children's Hospital, I meant that, and I will spend the rest of my life doing everything I can for the people at that hospital. Did the Dancing with the Knoxville Stars thing for them years ago. I will help them raise money. I as a journalist, I don't like telling people what to do with their money unless I'm just not comfortable doing it. Like, I know we sell ads and we do things like, you have to survive as a business, right? But I won't say anything unless I mean it, and I don't like talking. I just have this fear of like going to bat for this product or company or whatever, and then it turns out to be a bad thing. I don't like that. I don't want that. But I will tell everybody and ask everybody, if you have some spare bucks laying around, the people at East Tennessee Children's Hospital could always use it. If you just have time to volunteer, you can also go do that. There's a lot of things that they do for those kids, and trust me, you have a half dozen surgeries. We've been there quite a bit, but they always keep the kids entertained. They take a situation where you see your kid, and there's one time there where basically they were running out of places to put an IV tube. That was how things were at one point, right? But he still is spending a majority of that day smiling because of the entertainment that they provide for those kids, the things they do for them, the treats they give them, and the people who work in there. Just they're living legends. They are heroes who walk among us and don't wear capes. And he is, hey, I don't know what's the best way to put this, peeing like a champ. So with the kidneys, that was always the concern. You have to wear a stoma for a while or have a stoma put in, and you're cutting in, cutting out, cutting in, cutting out, cutting in. But you wouldn't know it if you saw him. You wouldn't know it. And we'll see if he'll be able to play football when he's older. But pretty much every other sport, other than maybe football and hockey, would be fine, I guess. Or he could wear protective gear while doing it. But he's just a normal kid. So. But I'm still, everybody in the families, we're trying to take care of our kidneys as best we can. So just in case we need to do a switcheroo at some point. But right now he's got one that's mostly normal, and then the other one that's just good enough to keep. So, and a lot of y'all have been so kind the past 4 years with that. And I talk about things because, first off, I say this a lot, but if we want transparency and accountability from people that we cover, I think setting an example and being transparent ourselves with our own lives is a balance for that. So at least we're not hypocrites, right? Say what you want about us, we're not hypocrites. So I just tell you what I'm doing. I don't, I don't tell you everything, but I don't really have secrets because I'm not important enough to, and I don't do anything I'm ashamed of. So, and if people don't like that stuff, they can just read past it and go on to the news, and that's fine. But I'm not one of those people who says, I think you should hand over all your documents. I think you should be transparent. I think you should tell us the truth. And in my own life, I'm hiding behind anonymity like everybody else is. I don't think that's right. So my parents didn't raise hypocrites. So that's why I do that. And also from a purely practical standpoint, I'm somebody who, if I'm not covering a Tennessee game, if it's a big game and I'm not there, I'm just, my phone's going to be blowing up saying, where are you? Where's no updates? Why are you doing this? So if I'm going to miss something, then I say, hey, by the way, I'm out, and here's the reason. I'm not just ditching work today, guys. I gotta do this or whatever. And so that's why there's times where you have to step away for just a little bit to handle some stuff. You want to, I tell people why I'm not. So I just feel like as a journalist, that's something that you should do. But he is doing great. He is never getting in trouble at school, getting in some trouble at home, calling me fat man, which is, I don't know if I'm not going to say it's accurate or inaccurate. It's a little bit of both. I mean, there's a dad bod situation. There's no question about that. But thank you for your questions about Hank. He is great. He's doing great. Everything is awesome. And knock on wood, when we go back to the specialist again here in a little bit, who is one of the best in the world, and he happens to live here and work at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. He flew across the country one time, cut his vacation short because something was going on with Hank. That's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of people who work there. So thank you to the people at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I guess Merry Christmas Eve, and we'll see you in about 23 hours on Christmas Day.